Welcome to Tarot Tuesday for the week of December 2nd. This is for Taurus. Taurus, this week is sandwiched between two retrogrades going direct. So last week we had our Mercury retrograde end. It's our last one of the year, but I'll say that for the next few weeks, still be conscious when communicating, when traveling, using technology, because we're still in the post shadow, and here because people feel like they're in the clear. I feel like they've loosened up a bit, and this is where I've seen actually the most reckless driving the last few weeks, probably just because of Thanksgiving as well. But just be patient on the road for the safety of you and others. We also have next week, Neptune is going to go direct. So we will really come out of this more foggy place that we've been the last few weeks. The main event of the week that we are currently in happens on the 4th. So in a few days, we have our last full moon of the year in Gemini. And so Gemini is about, and when it's in the moon, just how do we know where we end and others begin? What are we just mirroring back, parroting back to others? And how can we, find the value in power in ourselves and how we relate to others? Yeah? Okay, so I am using the Enchanted Map deck by Colette Baron-Reid. This was my first deck, and then just for Sagittarius season, we want to connect to that inner traveler, inner explorer. Yeah, so this is also my most blunt deck. All right, so what do we have for Taurus? Okay, Magical Stream for Taurus. So the focus of this week is on staying in your flow. We know that it's the most powerful way for us to stay present is if we get into something that really drops us into flow. Sometimes it can be mundane things like cleaning, it's just a habit. And in these moments of just doing everyday tasks, that's where you can get your biggest insights. It could be things like a creative project or a hobby that you have, a way that time just kind of falls and slips away from you when you tap into this flow space versus a distracted space, which is very hard to do, at least in the States. We have, even our phone just dinging every 2 seconds because it's cyber whatever day, right? So Taurus, like your strength this week comes from being out of distraction and into flow state. Because ride the wave reversed is saying that, life has been happening, it's been bombarding you, and maybe it's not even just distraction, it could be some form of, like obsession, addiction, anything along the ways of, if you are stress eating, if you are just, rolling out of bed all groggy, not actually taking the time to settle into your day, you're not working with the flow of life. So that is where you're coming from. But you have this sacred pool. You are, when your inner waters are calm, you can actually tap into that magical stream. And so your inner waters being calm is your emotional balance, but also, if those emotional waters are muddy, you cannot be in flow space because you are in a space of distress. So you want to make sure that you are dropping into a place of groundedness. And when you can work from grounded relaxation, then you can actually be in that flow space. Because your outcome, it is making a choice reversed. And so the opposite of being in the flow space would be, you're either such a rock that life is happening around you and you are just not budging. Or the other choice option is that life is just rolling you through the waves, tossing you around. And Taurus, your best advice right now is to be so in a flow space, so in the moment, that you aren't going to get knocked around by the waves and you aren't going to just try to stop. right? Yeah, so that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that your waters are flowing good because you had a very wet reading. 3 of your cards had water elements to it. So Taurus, you at least have right side up. So when you can be clear waters, it's like how we say to fill your cup first before you fill into others. That's what you're working on this week. All right. Well, happy December, Taurus, and I'll see you next week. Bye.